Hi, Clover. Can you hear me, Clover?
I can.
Great.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
That must have been quite a service today.
There we go. That's better.
That's a full one.
Okay. And I think I'm gonna not use the bar stools because that way Clover can see me. Clover, how are you feeling? Oh, we lost you. How are you feeling this morning?
I am feeling better. I have a fever, though, so I'm feeling a little flushed. But this is an extrovert with norovirus who doesn't want to miss the party.
When I had it, being the introvert, I wanted to crawl into a cave and not come out for 3 days.
Jason,
We complement each other nicely, I think.
Jason, I need you to
I was
mute
in a
the
cave
computer.
yesterday.
Okay. So I think folks are coming in from the worship, but I think we should start.
Really? Wow. I can see them all.
Can you see? Wave. Everyone wave. Can you see? There you go. All right. Thank you all for being
More
here
people coming.
for our 2025 Co-Pastors Forum. We want to kind of do this in 2 pieces. The first is to give a highlight on a significant thing happening in 2025 for Montview Church, and that is an update on the transition. And we will do some transition information. We'll have a little Q&A around that. And then after that, the second half will be, we want to share some really strong marks of engagement in our congregational life and have some of our staff share a bit about their plans for 2025. So that's what we're going to be doing. So Clover, should we start with the transition team?
Yeah, do you want to open in prayer?
Sure, thank you. Clover, you open in prayer. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I have a fever.
I'll open us in prayer. Holy One, help Clover heal from this virus. And indeed, many are suffering with health challenges, and particularly at this time of year. And so may your healing spirit be with all those that need health and healing this day. Bless Montview Church and all the ministries of this place. We're so grateful for how your spirit is moving in and through each member and friend of this congregation. And may we continue to listen deeply to your spirit's movement as we discern this year ahead. We pray all of this in the name of Christ, Emmanuel. Amen. All right, so our transition team, this morning we have Rob Mathis. There's Rob. Yeah, come on up. Rob Mathis is on the transition team, and he's going to share with us some updates. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, Jason. Good morning. So my name is Rob Mathis, and I'm one of the members of the transition team. And I'm only here because Cody Belsley and Stephanie Williams, our amazing co-chairs, are either out of town or just returning from Asia. And so they understandably weren't able to be here. But first, I want to thank the members of the transition team. A reminder again, Stephanie Williams and Cody Belsley, Corey Kalanick, Jamie Moyer, Lena Waite, Michelle Horn, Paul Lingefelder, and Sujin Kim. And back in August, we were charged by the session to help guide the congregation through this period of transition. And as we talk about things this morning, we'll see that even that transition phase is moving through a period of transition. So over the past 4.5 months, we've been engaged in this transition process, and the first part of that was really a phase of listening, so that we can help inform the co-pastor nomination committee on who we are as a people and what we're looking for. So the first thing that we asked you to do, and over 400 members of this congregation or attenders did it, we asked you to take the congregational assessment tool, which was a 100+ question survey, and we got the results of that. And then we had a series of listening sessions. There were 2 in-person listening sessions here at the church, and 1 that was online, trying to get as much participation as possible. And I'm going to give you just a few of the highlights of what we learned through that survey. Overall, the members have a very high level of satisfaction with the church, with the co-pastor, and with the music and worship program. Really off-the-chart results, a lot of satisfaction, which is really good to see. The respondents had a very strong commitment to both external and internal ministry, which is interesting, and some of that external ministry is not well defined, but there's a very strong commitment on the part of our church to serve the greater community and world. There's a real call for greater small group gatherings and opportunities to develop kind of closer relationships. We're a really, really big church, but there's a really strong desire to find communities within the church, and so I think that's really important. Montview exhibits, and this won't be a surprise to probably most of you, a very intellectual curiosity, a very progressive theology, which is different from political philosophy or political leanings, and we're very adaptable to changing circumstances. And finally, we saw, and this was again off the charts, a really strong commitment on the behalf of the church for education, and that's at all levels. We saw really, really high marks for the work that Sandy and Amanda do with the children and the youth program, and then also a really strong commitment to the adult faith formation. And so that was all part of it. That we saw. All of this was facilitated by our consultants, Holy Cow Consulting, who've been helping us with this process. And now, essentially, the transition team has taken all of that information and we have delivered it to the co-pastor nominating committee that was called by the normal standing officer nominating committee and approved by you as the congregation on October 27th. And so the members of the co-pastor nominating committee have been approved and by the congregation, and I'm just going to name them very quickly for those of you that maybe weren't there. It's Diane Briscoe McKenzie, Jessica Crawford, Eric Hilty, Peg Logan, Craig Magnus, Erica Neely, Kate Reinemund, Bill Schumacher, Matt Spahn, and Nancy Van Bergel. And so thank you for all of them who have agreed to serve in this important role. It's important to note that the work that committee does happens in a little more privacy, a little more confidence as they move forward. And so the ask from the transition team is that we allow them to do their important work. They'll update us when it's appropriate, but their work does need to happen in a little bit of confidence. And so at this point, the transition team, we've taken the CAT survey, the listening session surveys, delivered all of that to the co-pastor nominating committee, and they will start working on what's called the 12-question form. I think there's actually 13 questions on it when I looked online, but it's called the 12-question form, and it's essentially who we are as a church, and that's filled out by the co-pastor nominating committee, and that will be used to start the matching process as we go forward and invite potential candidates to move forward. We learned a great deal about who we are as a people, and they're going to take that information from the CAT survey, from the interim pastor survey, and also then from the search for Pastor Lorraine's role. All of that's going to be rolled in and worked on by the co-pastor nominating committee as they move forward. So at this point, the transition team is going to rest a little bit. We're going to take a step back and let the CPNC do its work. They're going to be kind of face forward at this point in time. And then after a new pastor is named sometime later, I think the website still says spring or summer, which is not accurate. We'll get that updated. It's going to be farther out. And then the transition team, you'll see, will kind of step forward again and help welcome and integrate the new pastor into our community. And so with that, I think I'm done, Jason, and turn it back over to you, Dave.
Thank you, Rob, and thanks to the transition team. And again, thanks to the co-pastors nominating committee. And I don't have anything to add to what Rob covered. Clover, do you have anything else to add in terms of CPNC?
I just wonder if, because Rob is there and that was wonderful, should we give it an opportunity to have folks ask questions right now? Sorry to get you up again, Rob, but if there are questions, maybe this is a time to offer that opportunity to ask.
Great. Let's do that.
If there's anyone there who wants one, we just
Questions
don't want to
about
miss.
the transition team. Go ahead, Todd.
I'm a retired journalist. I can always come up with questions. I would like to know, I was taking notes, and at the early part about what the off-the-charts feedback, if you could elaborate on that, and if people had suggestions for small group engagement, because we already have supper clubs. So what else did people want?
So yeah, the off-the-charts things were satisfaction with our actual worship, what we do on Sunday morning, with the music program. People really, really love the music here. And then the education were the three highlights, I would say. And that was really, really strong support for both the children, the youth program, as well as kind of adult faith formation. I think those were the three things that really had strong results. And as to ways to integrate in smaller groups, that was not a question that was asked, unfortunately, in the survey. The survey was a kind of a multiple choice, and there was a few opportunities for small answers. We are aware of the supper clubs, and those were discussed during the in-person listening sessions that people attended. But otherwise, there was just a real recognition that came across that it's a big church, and that we have lots of members that unfortunately don't know how to do the step from attending on Sunday to integrating further and into smaller groups. There's the committees and things like that, but my impression of it, and Corey's also on the transition team who's here, there was a wonder, how do you get from the pews on Sunday into something else?
Can you hear me? I'm Peggy Gonder, by the way. I've been a member since 1981, and I was on a membership committee probably 20 to 30 years ago, and I know there was findings from some national church survey that when you're a large church like Montview, if people come and they don't get plugged in to a smaller group, they tend to leave within a year. So I just think that historical perspective could be helpful to know.
Yeah, thank you, Peggy. Let me just highlight here, I see some membership committee folks nodding their heads. The results of the CAT survey definitely will be shaping the work of the co-pastor, the co-pastor nominating committee. But other leadership stakeholders in Montview are also engaging the findings so that we can take what we learned from the CAT survey and integrate it across multiple ministry contexts. So although it's really focused to equip the CPNC, Peggy, your point is that we will be integrating those findings in lots of different ministry areas as well, especially membership, yeah. Another question, Todd? Is there another question? Okay. Clover, do you want to move to distributed leadership, highlight that a little bit? And
if you all remember that quick history, that we had transitional pastor search committee, and they indeed called a transitional co-pastor back in the winter, early spring, and that opportunity for that pastor fell through. They withdrew, and so that put us in a bit of a pinch. That was very close to what we were hoping would be the starting time in the summer. Pastor Ian left in early May. So we quickly moved along with the presbytery nominating committee, anyway, COM, Committee on Ministry, or whatever they call themselves right now. And they helped us say, well, let's not get back into another search for an interim. That already took a long time, and we ended up with a stalled search, I should say, not failed. And they did a great job. So the presbytery helped us think about a distributed model of leadership, meaning that we took the responsibilities of our co-pastor, one that were just retired, and distributed those responsibilities among our staff. And then, because Jason Hayes stepped into what we call him an executive minister, not a co-pastor, but he has taken on worship leadership, preaching leadership, has let go of some responsibilities to an interim executive director of operations, John Thexton, who is taking some of those things off of Jason's plate, his profile, and other responsibilities in pastoral care, not just pastoral care in medical settings, but pastoral care in terms of life cycle and life issues among congregants, has been shared with Lorraine Leist and Amanda Osenga and myself. So we've kind of spread things across to distribute them. I have to say, everyone on staff, everyone has stepped up, has taken on more. That is the reality, that staff has taken on more work. But the morale is high, the support is high, the trust with one another on the team is very high. So it is a lot of work. It's more work. That is just true. And this model right now is working. And in some ways, it is a better model because we haven't had to integrate another new body into the leadership. Jason knows this church. Jason and I know each other very well. We work collaboratively extremely well. I'm so grateful. And the team responds. Now, I'm number 11 of the norovirus on staff. So that's just a window of what distributed and collaborative model of ministry has been in the last 3 weeks, because it really was a matter of who's down today, who needs that job, who's going to take that job. Adam's down with the organ during the 4:00 service. No one else can play except Ying Ying. She better show up. So, that kind of thing. So we have just relied on each other and kept a good sense of humor about it. Incredible flexibility among the staff. So if there are questions about the distributed model leadership, and Jason to add, because you have a particular angle on that, would love to hear it.
Yeah, thank you, Clover. The only thing I would add is John Thexton, who picked up much of my portfolio and operations. Then we also remember that Bob Cloud, our longtime facilities director, retired, and we have a new Bob Cloud named Brandon. And in fact, he's here today doing setups and making sure things are running smoothly. So we have a few changes in staff. You heard, if you were in the 8:30 worship, Doug Easton, our Sunday morning manager, is retiring from that role since 2017. He's taking on other ministry areas. So we'll have some change of staff, but that's actually quite normal for a church our size. We always have some folks coming and some folks going. And I would just affirm what Clover said around the high morale and a real commitment to collaborative collaborative ministry. Any questions on that piece? I think you're all aware of it. We just wanted to circle back to it. We have
No, I would just say thank you to all of you on the staff. I mean, I haven't noticed any deficiencies or anything like that, and I just appreciate everything that you're doing.
Thank you. So if let's move to a few other highlights. Actually, these are updates. So the first, let me just do a quick highlight on the capital campaign. The capital campaign, our construction is finished, and all of our spaces have been renovated, and I hope you're delighting in the beauty and in this beautiful both worship and performing arts space. Most of the pledges for the capital campaign have been fulfilled, but there are a significant number that are still behind. And so some of our elders and our capital campaign committee are continuing to follow up to see are folks just behind, but they're still going to fulfill their pledge. And as soon as all those pledges come in, we can fund the second round of our Mission Impact Fund grants. If you'll recall, we pledged $800,000 from the capital campaign to Mission Impact Fund grants. The first round of $400,000 has already been gifted to ministry partners. And so this second round, which we hope to complete this year in 2025. And so if we can have all those capital campaign pledges fulfilled, then we'll be fully funded to get that second round of Mission Impact Fund grants out the door. I just want to acknowledge the Mission Life Committee and their work in collaboration with the Rose Foundation. They did some incredible work discerning impact and different requests for grants. They did some incredible work there. We shared that information through the This Week at Montview email, and we're really grateful for the Mission Life Committee's work on there. So hopefully we'll close out all the books in 2025. I'll have a more detailed report on that for our congregational meeting in January. Next is an update on stewardship and the finances of the church. Of course, we'll have the annual report coming at the end of January, but we are still closing stewardship pledges for 2025. We've had some incredible generosity from Montview Church. Our goal to fund 2025 was $1.9 million in pledges, and we think we'll get there. We think we'll get there. We have 452 households of Montview Church have pledged in all dollar amounts across the board. And 30 of those are new pledges, new members or members who had skipped a year and now they're pledging back again. And these commitments are about $1.73 million, and we have quite a few that haven't yet renewed. So if you had a pledge in 2024 and you haven't yet given us your 2025 pledge, we'd love to receive it so that we can pass our budget at the congregational meeting in January. You can do that online, montview.org/giving. And let me just offer one more data point here. Our goal beyond what we needed to fund the budget was every household of Montview Church pledging their financial support or the ministries in whatever dollar amount, from $1 to $1 million. We don't have $1 million pledge, so let me just be clear. And we have, I had this number, where did it go? Out of around 900 households, we have about 450 pledges. So about half of our households who are members of Montview Church have an active pledge. Some of those are members who have moved away and haven't transferred their membership yet. Some do give to the per capita, so they're not able to pledge because of the financial limitations, but they do give to the per capita. So what we're really trying to encourage this year is, no matter what the dollar amount, prayerfully consider a pledge in any amount to Montview Church and support the ministries. We'd love to get that number up from half of the households up more like 60 or 70%. So. And thank you for all of you who give so generously, and all the ministries are really amazing because of it. So that's an update on stewardship and capital campaign. Let's move to celebrate some highlights of ministry. So Lorraine, can I ask you to come up and share some highlights on, you're just past your 1-year anniversary, Associate Pastor for Older Adult Ministries. So could you share some highlights of how?
Yeah, absolutely. It's what a delight this year has been. I really am so pleased to be here and feel like I've landed at the right place at the right time. I've spent the better part of this year actually getting to know most of you, many of you at least, especially our older adults. Susie King and I led a spirituality and aging class for 40 people this fall, and I'm planning to run it again in the spring. It was a tremendous success. We got lots of great feedback. People connected with each other, and it really spoke to that need to have people connect in small groups. We transitioned the visitation ministry from Peter Hulak, who retired, to me, and in that process, we've extended the homebound visitation ministry. We're getting on a good rotation with folks who are homebound. We've expanded the friendship ministry and the extended communion ministries, so we're just reaching out to people in the community, particularly those who can't get to church very often. In 2025, we've got a couple of exciting things happening in January. There's the adult faith formations coming up, the next two, about caregiving and issues around spirituality and dying. We have an older adult Sunday on the 26th of January, and I hope you all will come. It's going to be very interesting, very exciting. We'll have some of our older adults speaking about their experience with their long history at Montview. Let's see, return to the spirituality and aging class. Plan to run that again at least one time this year. And then just some other things coming up. I think for me, my focus, now that I've gotten to know many of you, is actually to think about, sort of strategically, how does older adult ministry fit into Montview, and in what ways can we continue to expand this ministry so that older adults feel very much integrated into the life of the community. And then personally, I'm just hoping to develop more expertise in my ministry area and see where we can take it from here. So thanks, everybody.
And we have Sandy. Sandy, would you offer some highlights in children's ministry? While you come up, Amanda Osenga, Associate Pastor for Youth, is away on their winter retreat, leading youth on a retreat this weekend, so we don't have Amanda. Sandy, please share a few highlights.
It's so wonderful to have been in children's programming at Montview for another year. And one of the highlights is the innovative and creative ways that our children's committee and our 14 dedicated Sunday school teachers are bringing the Bible alive for our children. They are using innovative and wonderfully creative techniques, the best in the educational field, to captivate their understanding of these ancient stories and tie them to their life Monday through Saturday. So I'm very grateful for that, and it's been a highlight of this year. One example is doing sun prints out on the playground as a focus on the details of God's beautiful creation. Another highlight is that we have been talking about doing intergenerational activities here at Montview since Amanda and I first sat down with Lorraine. And this December, we had an Advent festival that we designed and promoted for all ages. It was on December 1st. It involved making Advent wreaths. It was so well attended and so much fun for all ages, and for a wonderful way to build community that we're already planning our second annual Advent Festival. Another thing I'd like to share is from another passion of mine and a field that I work with here at Montview, and that is the visual arts. We have been able to commission some pieces, we've purchased some pieces, and right now we have 2 pieces from our original collection that are in the process of being rematted and reframed. And in the year ahead, please watch for announcements about where we have decided to hang them. One is by Carol Reeves, who many of you might remember. She was a member here forever, and she did a beautiful pastel picture of a hospital in Nepal that Montview worked with. So that will be a nod to our amazing international missions. Again, we look forward to the rest of this year. We're going into the life of Jesus and then into Lent, and before we know it, the donkey will be here again, and we can't wait. Thank you.
That's great.
Clover, do you have some ministry highlights you want to share?
Sure, and I'll just also add on in terms of the education, the faith formation work of the Adult Faith Formation Committee. They are a creative bunch. They are a committed bunch of people. That committee is chaired by Mary Jo Brooks. So if you attend adult education on Sunday mornings or other small group education experiences, you can thank and give praise to the Adult Faith Formation team. They produce and offer stellar work at Montview Church. So I just don't want to let them go unnoticed. I think we're so used to having such quality education at Montview in adults, particularly for adults, that I think it might be easy to take for granted. So I do want to give Mary Jo and her entire team thanks for their work. Yes, thank you. So related to adult faith formation is the work of the Anti-Racism Trust Team. That was a team put together in fall of 2020. You've probably heard of their work. If you haven't, this team has started and was led by Diane Briscoe McKinsey and Leah Oliver. Since their beginning, they have gone through their own process of doing anti-racism reflection and working with a consultant early on, and eventually landed with a commitment to the Jemar Tisby studies, Color of Compromise and How to Fight Racism. If I'm correct, I think there are around 160 or more Montview people and now people outside of our congregation who are taking the 12-week, roughly 12-session Jemar Tisby Color of Compromise studies. They've been offering them on Zoom, so they're accessible to many people. So the success of that program and the work of the Anti-Racism Trust Team continues, and I believe we are at that tipping point where the conversation about anti-racism and white supremacy in systems of injustice are becoming part of the vernacular at Montview Church, part of the conversations that we are having. And the goal for the anti-racism team is not only to continue those studies as primers and ways into this understanding of anti-racism, but also expanding what that means in the next kind of iteration for them, their next sense of call and discerning their own work. Connected to that, the Anti-Racism Trust Team brought to session a proposal for an official statement that Montview, a commitment and a statement of what we believe about our anti-racism work. And so session just approved in December a statement for Montview's position and commitment to anti-racism work. We will roll that out and discern how best to use that about the identity of our congregation. And so we give thanks to the Anti-Racism Trust Team and their ongoing. I want to give a shout out to Amanda Osenga, who has been the staff liaison to that work since fall of 2020. So I'm glad, and part of them, and you probably, I hope you took a part in the vibrant weekend with Dr. Jamar Tisby, who was here in November for the second time he was here. And it felt like a revival weekend to me. We had people from the outside on Saturday for the workshops. He preached on Sunday. And the Adult Faith Formation team is offering three Sunday sessions, reading and discussing in small groups Dr. Tisby's work called The Spirit of Justice, his book, the newest book, The Spirit of Justice. So we really encourage you, if you'd like to participate in a one church, one book read and a common conversation and a 3 Sunday opportunity to have those small group meaningful substantive conversations around race. And this will be an inspiring way because they are stories of people of faith in hard times, which is appropriate, I think, for us right now. So I give thanks to the trust team, the Anti-Racism Trust Team.
Thanks, Clover. I talked a little bit about stewardship, but as we're thinking about the marks of engagement, this phrase we're using is important for congregations that are in transition. Because during transition, sometimes in a congregation, the congregation starts to withdraw a bit. It starts to kind of reduce in worship attendance. It starts to reduce a little in stewardship and financial giving, in part because, well, we don't know what's going to happen, and so we're just kind of pull back on the gas pedal a little bit. But what we're seeing at Montview is incredible because our worship attendance is strong, our financial giving is strong, the ministries of Montview Church across the board continue to be engaged, and when we said goodbye and let go of our former co-pastor, we really invited the entire church to lean in during this time of transition. And right now, 8 or 9 months in or so, we're seeing a lot of from all these ministry highlights that you're hearing. And the financial giving continues to stay strong, which is one key data point. Some worship attendance is. Clover, do you want to share to celebrate a bit about worship and Christmas Eve? I think you've got those numbers.
Yes, because it's pretty remarkable. This past Christmas Eve, 5 services, as we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then our highlight of Candlelight, the Light of Christ along Montview Boulevard. We had, I believe the number is 3,012 people at Montview Church, bodies at Montview Church over those 5 services, which is actually 200 more than we had last year, which, we don't want to be a total numbers people, but those, as Jason said, are marks of health and vitality and engagement and mission that we are offering. We are offering opportunities for people in the community to connect with God and to be in a place of awe and wonder and beauty. And this church and this community offers those opportunities. But anyways, those numbers are pretty incredible. And when I've not in a braggy way, I've shared them with our colleagues around the country. Why not just share? How many did you have on Christmas Eve? Kidding, I really didn't do that. But there's quite an awe. People are taken back by the engagement of the community with the church in a day and age where Protestant mainline, denomination attendance and engagement is going down. We're not seeing that here, so that's wonderful. And a shout out to technology that so many people watch and engage with us online from around the country, indeed around the world, and they let us know, and they've sent in financial gifts just to say thank you for the technology that they're able to join us. So it's remarkable. In case we don't want you to miss that's worthy of gratitude. Anyway. And yes, and not that I love numbers, but I do. We are up to our membership is up to 1,690 members at Montview Church. So we took in over, I believe, 60 new members this year. And a great thanks and shout out to Todd Remby, our membership coordinator. Again, we continue to grow, and my goal is 1,700. Todd, no pressure. So just keep growing, because it just means engagement. It's not that the numbers are that important, but it means that we are offering the good news of the gospel to the world, and that's good news.
Thank you. So thank you for leaning in, and please continue to lean in, because lives are changed because of it, as Clover just said. So let's pause there and take a few Q and questions. Well, John, does John have a mic? Yeah, okay, John.
Montview Church is a house of worship for all people. Can you give some highlights of the different organizations that utilize Montview's facilities, specifically Temple Micah and the other organizations?
Yeah, thank you. We certainly have our ongoing ministry partners who house their ministries here with us. Temple Micah, of course, has been going quite well, and we're getting to know each other well and doing some shared program. It's a great thing to celebrate. We continue to have strong relationships with the League of Women Voters, Together Colorado, Sentis Counseling. Since, I didn't mention this at the capital campaign update, but since we've reopened the building, we continue to have, I'm looking at Todd over there because he fields most of these building requests to schedule, and we just continue to have increased requests, both ministries within Montview, which is great, but also community organizations. In fact, we have music organizations doing concerts in the sanctuary. We've got front range chamber players here. We actually have some students from Denver School of the Arts that are about to offer Hadestown production right here in Miller Center. So we have all of our AA groups, and then we've got social justice organizations that use the space for one-time events. So we are very busy in this space, and that's one of the things we wanted, to renovate these spaces so that we can offer them to the wider community. Yeah. Montview Preschool. Thanks. I didn't mean to forget the preschool. Of course, the preschool is here, and they're not going anywhere. They're part of us for sure. Okay, Debbie. I think Debbie had a question. Todd, back. Oh, Clover, you had a question. Oh.
I want to add a little bit to the Temple Micah partnership because it's worthy of noting that. For example, we had a joint service after the election. If you remember, if you were here, it was a beautiful service as a way of bringing these two communities together to respond to something greater than us, God's work in the world, and in a time of change and tension in our country. But I thought that the service, working together with Rabbi Morris and his folks, was an incredible example of what this partnership and ministry could offer. So it's more than just that they are having space in our building. That was not our vision, that solely was the point of this, but that they are true partners in ministry. And Rabbi Morris couldn't be a better partner in ministry. And I'll add one more thing. I got a call last week or a couple weeks ago from a professor at Vanderbilt Divinity School who is writing a book on multicultural, multi-faith communities sharing space in a building. And so she heard about us. And so we're going to have a time where she can interview us. But she said it's just, shouldn't say unheard of, but it is so rare where a building is being a host to multicultural, multi-faith religious communities. So she was really praising us and the risk that we have, the risk that we've taken in having Temple Micah with us. So I look forward for us to be one of her case studies in her book.
I have a question in regards to technology and membership. I remember a number of years ago, it may have been Ian, had mentioned, and it may have been during COVID, had mentioned that for the first time ever, somebody that watched us online in New York or something had asked to become a member. And I just wondered what has happened in that realm of people that don't live here and membership, but want to be part of the community.
Yeah, I can take it. I'll give you an example, is that we got a call, well, actually not a call, we got an invitation from Lorraine, someone that she's been meeting who has never been to Montview. They've been going to Montview for 2 years. They've not missed a service, they go to all the concerts and everything, and they're an older couple that cannot make it for various reasons, and they asked, well, how can we become members? And we have you can take an choirs class, you come to Receiving Sunday and you become a member. And they said, well, we really aren't able to do that. So today, in fact, Sharon Kraft is going to visit this couple, and we're going to share the news that we are going to invite them in without having to come. They participate more than probably a lot of members. And so that is one example of what we're doing. But there needs to be a more formal program about what you're talking, Debbie, is and you're talking about this gentleman from Delaware. And I'm the one who got the call, and he said, hey, I'm interested in attending Montview or becoming a member of Montview. And I said, well, you can come. Well, I can't really because I live in Delaware. And I said, oh, okay. And he says, but I participate every weekend with Montview and also a church in St. Augustine, Florida. And so that is the impetus for us to get our minds wrapped around it. We've been going through a lot of changes, right? But I think 2025 is going to be the year of a few things. One is really start getting digital membership going. And that means not just becoming a member, but let's have Zoom at all of the various types of individual groups that we have, right? And we do it a little bit here, a little bit there, but we're going to make it more consistent. And then we're going to try to, then from a membership perspective, is we all are a part of many groups, and a lot has changed over the last 4 years with COVID. Some are a little dormant, some are thriving, and we're going to have a fair of sorts where all the groups are represented, whether they're spiritual groups, social groups, volunteering groups, and getting that going. And how can we make those groups involved on a digital way as well? So those are the goals for 2025.
Thanks. So,
Just
I was
to-
just
to
noting the
add to
time.
that- Well, just to add to that, as an example, was the Jamar Tisby class, or the classes that were offered. We have people joining those from out of state because they're on Zoom. So just to be cognizant of offerings, as Todd says, that will, invite people to participate who are not Montview in-body regulars.
Can I add one more thing to that? The Jamar Tisby studies, not just out-of-state people, but people who haven't joined the church yet, joined the study to see if we are truly who we say we are, and learning to get to know people before they go to the Inquirer's class, because I don't know if you guys are really who you say you are, and I want to know more people that are like me or not like me so I can make that decision. We had 3 members in our last group this last fall that were not members yet, and we're just doing that. They were surveying and getting to know in small groups whether this was their place.
Thank you. Thank you, Marilyn. So, let's see, okay. I think that's it. Clover, do you want to offer any closing remarks? I know the choir needs to go warm up, so we...
I think that's it. When you have questions, when you have feedback, when you have great ideas, this staff is open-hearted. We want to hear them. The session wants to hear them. If you have feedback along the way, please, we invite you to keep talking with us, and we'll do our best to keep continue our transparency and our connection and our communication. We have areas of 2025 that the staff have some visioning and creative imagination about what more can take place here at Montview Church. But just know that we are so grateful for you, and we are so grateful for the leadership, the lay leadership, and the staff leadership at Montview. So we're good. It's good, and it's worthy of praise.
Thank you, Clover. I hope you feel better. We'll see you later this week. And thank you all for coming today and for your support of Montview Church. Yeah, we're grateful for you. Yeah. Thank you.